Part 88. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 871. Chapter 871 Daily Life. Ji-sun was stuck. Jang Junlin said, a de facto marriage does not require a certificate. Lu Ziwen sneered, if you have an accident someday, he won't be able to receive your inheritance. You have a crow's mouth, Gu Si scolded him with a smile. They were not taboo about talking about death. It was normal for Jang Junlin and Lu Ziwen to quarrel with each other. After Gu Si had taken care of the cuttlefish, Gu Ziu came. When she saw Gu Ziu, she beamed, my big baby, hurry up, click here to see mom, long time no see. Mom. After Gu Ziu called her mother, he called people one by one. He had been on a business trip for a month and had just arrived home in the morning, so Ji-sun specially invited them to come over for a barbecue. He also calculated the time for Gu Ziu to come home that day and went there specially. When fishing for crabs, Gu Ziu likes to eat grilled crabs. This is specially made to catch the wind and wash away the dust for him. Why do I feel like I've grown taller again? Gu Si compared his height and felt that his son had grown taller again. Gu Ziu laughed and said, Mom, it's been a long time since you've seen me. Lu Ziwen said, I think he will grow to 2 meters. That's not the case, I don't have this gene. Gu Ziu laughed, just 1.85 meters is fine, it doesn't have to be that tall. Ji-sun asked, did the business trip go well? It's not going very well, Gu Ziu said briefly, it's within control, so it's okay. Jang Junlin raised his eyebrows, why did Chen Liangdong assign you to go on a business trip? Can you hold the line? He knew where Gu Ziu went on a business trip and also knew the content of Gu Ziu's business trip. Gu Ziu said, Uncle, don't underestimate me. Although I won't respond to everything at once, it's not like 2 years ago when everyone else would treat me as farts. Majesty, in addition to absolute strength, also requires a resume. He has an absolute resume. Because of his age, some people always look down on him, but it is different now. Gu Ziu was trained to be very down-to-earth and had an eye for work. When he saw Lu Ziwen handling crabs, he came over and naturally helped him handle them. Lu Ziwen said, Ziu has learned it, but there are people who are so old and can't learn it. Chang Junlin. Gu Ziu arrived late and didn't hear about the lawsuit between him and Jang Junlin. When he saw Jang Junlin's dark face, he knew that they were fighting again. He couldn't laugh or cry, Dad, your finger is bleeding. Jang Junlin sneered, it turns out that someone was caught in the trap and didn't say a word. Lu Ziwen was not embarrassed, who is like you? You have such a big reaction when you are pinched once. You are delicate and expensive. That's right, my brother is the eldest young master. Ji Sunming shook his head, Gu Si lowered his head and chuckled, lit the charcoal fire, and asked Ji-sun, when will Rong Li arrive? He sent the baby to Uncle Chen's house and then came back, that's about it. During the 2 days of the weekend, Chen Liangdong and North were both at home, and the confinement nanny and the baby went to Chen Liangdong's house. Ji-sun caught a lot of orchid crabs that day, and Rong Li also took some and sent them to Chen Liangdong's house. Gu Ziu said, Uncle Rong wants to marry Qin Wan. He has been very attentive during this period. I think the old man is very satisfied with him and regards him as his son-in-law. Chang Junlin said, everyone knows Sima Zhao's heart. He takes his baby there every weekend. It is obvious that the drunkard's intention is not to drink. What's the use? Qin Wan doesn't agree. No matter what the old man says, there's nothing he can do. Is he paying attention to the wrong person? Although Gu Ziu hasn't figured it out yet, he understands the basic principles. You don't understand. Before you can deal with your daughter, you need to deal with your father-in-law first. He just wants to show off to Qin Wan. How can he show off when he can't see anyone? Ji Xian said, I only have 3 days off on May Day, and it won't be until September. I only have 1 month of vacation, so I may not be able to take it all. Gu Zio shook his head. Xian, why bother? Lu Ziwen took care of the crabs, took them aside and washed them again, interviewed Ji Xian and asked him how he felt when he had unrequited love and saw each other 2 or 3 times a year. Chang Junlin. Ji Sun said, Third Master, why do you poke me where it hurts? You still know it's a sore spot. Don't hurt each other with me, we are evenly matched. In Zhang Junlin's eyes, Lu Ziwen and Gu Si had a relatively smooth relationship with no twists and turns, so he asked Ji Sun, is there anything I don't know? Tell me. Lest he be ridiculed by Lu Ziwen every time, he would have nothing to do with Lu Ziwen. Lu Ziwen snorted coldly, and Ji Sun realized what was going on. Ji Sun was still very tight-lipped about the third master's matter, and did not tell Zhang Junlin. Ji Xian said, it's just unrequited love. The third master has just fallen in love and has liked Sci-fi for many years. Half a pound. Gu Zio was really curious. Dad, how much do you like your mother? Gu Si asked knowingly, yes, how much do you like me? In fact, it's not like she asked knowingly. After all, the third young master didn't have the memory of the third master. She really didn't know how much he liked her. She knew it very early. When she was in junior high school, Lu Ziwen was very protective of her, but he definitely didn't like her at that time. They are all young people who know what liking means. At most, they just have a good impression and are pleasing to the eye. Lu Ziwen seemed to be mute and suddenly lost his voice. Zhang Junlin stimulated him, come and listen, the great lover. The great love saint. Lu Ziwen often mocked Ji Sun in front of Zhang Junlin. Lu Ziwen smiled and said, this is my privacy. I heard that when Xiao Ci was a teenager, she had a bad temper and was not very popular. Why do you like her? Zhang Junlin asked, because she is good looking. So superficial. Speaking of superficiality, who is more superficial than you? You only care about good looks, and gender doesn't matter. Ji Sun, I don't accept this. Why do you just like me because I look good, instead of liking my insides? I'm just curious, how brave are you to say this? Lu Ziwen asked in a leisurely manner. Ji Sun pursed his lips and was so ridiculed that he couldn't say a word. Gu Zio laughed heartily, his father won this game completely. Zhang Junlin raised his eyebrows and said, as for you, don't change the subject to Xiao Xian, why do you like Sci-fi? I'm superficial and only like the prettiest ones. Gu Si. Gu Zio raised his eyebrows, okay, I will choose the best looking one when I grow up. Lu Ziwen was silent for a moment, then you will be alone for the rest of your life. Who is prettier than your mother? End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 872. Chapter 872. Waiting for your wedding bar. A few people were playing around, and Rong Li also came. Gu Si said, if you don't take the baby to Uncle Chen's house, you can just bring it here to play. We haven't seen the baby for a long time. Rong Li put down the fruit he brought, rolled up his sleeves and went to help Ji Sun bake the cuttlefish. He said helplessly, Uncle Chen and Aunt Chen said they would bring the baby to them every weekend and let me rest for 2 days. They probably also want the baby. The youngest son and the eldest grandson are the lifeblood of the old man. They can't get enough of each other in one weekend. Gu Zio said, the old man's cell phone is full of photos of his grandson. He often offers me treasures and tells me how beautiful he is. They look so much like Rong Li, and Chen Liangdong likes them too. Why don't you like it when you look like me? Rong Li was unhappy. Am I ugly? Ji Sun raised his eyebrows and said, it all depends on who you compare with. If you compare with the men in this yard, you won't be able to compare. Rong Li gave a thumbs up, you win. This is really convincing. The older Gu Zio is now, the more evil he becomes, and he has the demeanor of a new generation of heartthrobs. Gu Si asked curiously, Xiu, is anyone chasing you? I don't fall in love prematurely, Gu Xiu said hurriedly. Ji Sun corrected him, Xiaosai asked, is there anyone chasing you? I'm not asking if you have fallen in love early. Gu Xiu pursed his lips, said nothing, and became mute. He looked exactly like Lu Ziwen when he didn't want to talk, and everyone started to gossip. Gu Xiu said helplessly, it's all my sister who is chasing me. That's outrageous. What's wrong with sister? How old am I? Gu Xiu is tall, and because he started working early, he is very mature and smooth. Children of his age are still in junior high school and in the rebellious stage, but Xiu is dealing with all kinds of tedious work, so he naturally looks very mature. Many sisters who have just graduated and are not very familiar with him fall in love at first sight because of their faces. Everyone likes to ask for his WeChat. And today's girls are very direct and don't play with secret crushes. They just ask him out for dinner, movies, or ask him directly if he can pursue him. Gu Xiu always replied, sister, I am 14 years old this year. Instant kill. If the other party doesn't believe it, Gu Xiu will issue an ID card, block out the other numbers, and show them their age. The sisters who can work are all in their 20s, 30s, or 14 years old. They immediately stop thinking. They have some appearance and courage. We'll ask him if he has an older brother. Gu Zhi encountered countless peach blossoms. Lu Ziwen already likes Xiaosai at this age. Zhang Junlin said, you have to carry it forward. I do not want. Gu Xiu knew that these adults hoped that he would get married and have children at the age of 20, and give them grandchildren as early as possible. If he were an ordinary child, he would have told his parents to have a second child while he was young, but Gu Xiu did not hope at all. If they give birth to a child, if anything happens, he will be miserable. Besides good looking, do you have any other requirements? Ji Sun said, I'll look for it for you. Gu Xiu really has requirements: be good looking, and be able to discuss philosophy with me. It's best to have some theoretical knowledge of information engineering, be self-disciplined, and be funny. That's about it. Everybody. Lu Ziwen laughed out loud, then find a man. Gu Xiu looked at Lu Ziwen in confusion. Zhang Junlin raised his eyebrows and said, you are biased. No, how could Gu Xiu be biased? He was just confused. I don't care about gender, so why should I say it specifically? This requires both men and women, everyone said. Gu Ci feels that this topic is a bit dangerous, and it requires men to make it easier. Wrongly thought to himself that today's children are pretty cool. Lu Ziwen said, you'd better find a girl. We all want to hold the child. Tisk, it sounds like you will help me take care of the children. Gu Ci said, I'll help you take it. Mom, I'm getting married and having children, but you haven't retired yet, so you might be busier than me. Everyone laughed. Rong Li's grilled cuttlefish was also cooked. He took the scissors, cut the cuttlefish into strips, brushed it with the barbecue sauce prepared by the chefs, and asked them to come over and taste it. Rong Li's barbecue is amazing. The grilled cuttlefish is so delicious that Gu Xiu praises it. It's amazing. No wonder you ask Uncle Rong to come every time you barbecue. It's so delicious. Don't sow discord. The chef used to bake it. Ji Sun flicked his forehead. It's specially made for you. Yes, he went to the sea specifically to cast a net, and he didn't have a fishing license. He was afraid of forgetting the position of the net, so he slept on the boat for 2 days, waiting to collect the net. Zhang Junlin said lukewarmly. Gu Xiu could understand Zhang Junlin's jealousy. Did you really sleep for 2 nights? That's right, I'm not allowed to sleep on the boat if I cast the net without placing a buoy. What if I forget where to cast it? Why not release the buoy? Gu Xiu didn't quite understand. Lu Ziwen said, when the buoy was released, the fishermen immediately hooked it away when they saw it, and the net was cast in vain. He set a net of 900 meters. Rong Li said, It's really powerful. If you are reported, you will be fined, Gu Si asked. It depends on whether the relationship is strong or not, Rong Li said with a smile. If we really have to be fined, that would be interesting. It would smear the image of our Black Hawks. Don't mislead Ziyu. That place is not a no-fishing zone. The fishermen are all fishing. No one has a license. If the Ministry of Fisheries imposes restrictions, the fishermen will start to explode first. Ji Xian quite likes to go out to sea to catch seafood. Zhang Junlin's favorite weekend activity: every time I have a good harvest, you have to take half of it to please your prospective father-in-law and mother-in-law. Did Qinhuan give you the letter? Zhang Junlin also asked curiously. Rong Li shook his head. No. He didn't want Zhang Junlin to be beaten with a stick after he found out, so he was still a little afraid. Rong Li also hopes that Qinhuan can give her an accurate letter, but he has a feeling that Qinhuan will not reject him this time. He can still feel the ambiguity and tacit understanding between men and women. Actually, it doesn't matter whether you need a certificate or not. Children are the best bridge, Lu Ziwen said. This is a bit more freeing. If you really want to get married, there will be a lot of trouble. There are quite a lot of things to be solved. Rong Li agrees with this point. Rong Li has been to Chen Liangdong's house so many times but has never seen Chen Liangzhu. The parents are not letting go. Maybe they will be a little gentler for the sake of the cute twins. Ji Sun said, the child looks so much like him. Bring him over more often to increase his sense of presence. The more you see him, the more favorable his impression will be. That's true, Gu Si said. My master tells me how cute my grandson is every day and sends me various short videos. Okay, let's wait for your wedding wine, Lu Ziwen said. Gu Ziyu pursed his lips and remained silent. Chen Liangdong did like Rong Li, but Gu Ziyu hadn't heard Chen Liangdong reveal his intention to agree to their marriage, and he didn't know the old man's specific thoughts. He would help spy on the information another day. Moi. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 873. Chapter 873, Being a Widow. After a few people had a barbecue, they went to the chess and card room. When Ji Xian was renovating, he specially built a chess and card room. There was a mahjong table in the chess and card room, where you could also play Texas Hold'em. The chips were also provided. Zhang Junlin wanted to play mahjong, and Lu Ziwen wanted to play. In Texas, Rong Li chose mahjong. Ji Sun looked around and decided to choose mahjong. His brother clearly said that he wanted to play mahjong at the barbecue. When he saw that the third master wanted to play mahjong, he chose Texas. He was really rebellious. As long as he can compete with the third master, true intentions don't matter. Gu Ziyu and Gu Si played Go and chatted about daily life. When children grow up, parents become less involved. Especially for children like Gu Ziyu, who are independent and capable, and can control their own future, their parents' sense of involvement is very important. Rare. Do you still dream about the past recently? Gu Ziyu often dreams about the past. Even now, he occasionally has nightmares. The memories of the past always linger in his mind, lingering. Gu Si is afraid that there will be hidden dangers. Fortunately, although Gu Ziyu can dreaming about things in the past, but never going back to the past. Sometimes the memory is very real, as if he is immersed in the scene. He also wakes up crying, but dreams and reality are finally distinguished. I dream occasionally, but less frequently, Gu Ziyu said. The older I grow, the less I dream and the less affected I am. He took a step while holding the sunglasses, but Gu Si blocked his way. She asked the third master, and the third master said that Zio was stimulated when he was young, and his memory turned into a nightmare, which would accompany him throughout his life, and he would always be a nightmares are very common, and he often has nightmares. When he wakes up from a nightmare, he can't come back to his senses for a long time. But dreams are just dreams, not reality. Just distinguish them. Guzio considered the layout of the chessboard. Mom, don't worry. If I really go back, I will live a good life. I know you are living a good life here, so I am relieved. I am in a parallel world. I will live hard and never lose hope again. Don't worry, I can live a good life no matter where I am. Even if you leave your parents. He was very stubborn when he was a child and was unwilling to leave his parents. Even now, he is unwilling to return to the cold world and leave him alone. Only Ji Xian grew up with him. He couldn't bear to part with this warm world. He was always worried that this was a dream, a compensation dream before his death. When he woke up from the dream, everyone he loved would be gone. To this day, he has long figured it out. Gu Si was frightened when she heard this. In the past few years, she had grown up with Ziyu, and her family of 3 had escaped from the sea of misery. She felt that she was the happiest woman every day. She was even more paranoid than Ziyu and didn't want Ziyu to leave. Ziyu will not leave either. Lu Ziwen said that Ziyu would not leave them. She believes him. Ziyu, you will not leave us. Of course I can't bear to leave. When my mother hurt you, did it leave a lifelong shadow on you? Gu Si has never dared to talk to Ziyu about this matter again. It will be a little bit, Gu Ziyu said softly, but it won't leave a shadow on me for a lifetime. It will be so long. Besides, how can my mother be my shadow? Gu Si was a little hurt, but the fact was done, time could not be reversed, and the things she regretted could no longer be repeated. She knew that the person she was most ashamed of was Ziyu. Mom, don't take those things to heart, they really don't matter, Gu Ziyu said. You and Dad live your own lives, don't worry about me, I will also live my own life, and our family will be the same in the future. Good day. You are right, there will be good days from now on. 4 grown men were playing mahjong. Ji Xian asked, it is said that boys have nothing to say to their mothers when they grow up. Why do Ziyu and Ziyu talk to each other every day and whisper to each other? Third master, do you know what they say? Machines vote, I don't want to know people's privacy. What kind of privacy is my wife and children? How come my wife and children are not private? Ji Huan lit a cigarette, extended one to Lu Ziwen, and asked Rong Li, are you still smoking? Rong Li has quit smoking, but since it is second-hand smoke, it is better to smoke directly. 1 or 2 cigarettes are not addictive anyway. He has not smoked for half a year. Why didn't you pass one to Mr. Zhang? He stopped smoking, Ji Sun said. It feels good to smoke second-hand smoke every day, so it's better to smoke together, Rong Li said. It doesn't matter, Zhang Junlin doesn't mind second-hand smoke at all. He smokes occasionally and is no longer addicted. He is a person who is difficult to become addicted to anything, except Ji Huan. Zhang Junlin glanced at Rong Li and asked lightly, Qin Wan comes back on May Day. Do you want to go on vacation with her? There are no plans yet. She hasn't seen the baby for a long time, so she will probably stay with the baby and her family. Rong Li thought to himself, it was only 3 days, so it would be good to give him half a day. There was no time to go on vacation together, and the child was still alive. It is very troublesome to take them on vacation when they are small. It is better to wait until the children are older and he takes the children to visit relatives. I heard that it is quite convenient to visit relatives. You can take the baby to stay for a few days. It should be no problem. Ji Xian still thought about Rong Li's welfare and looked at Zhang Junlin when he asked this question. Chang Junlin said, ask Chen Liangdong, I don't know. Lu Ziwen, if you really want to go, don't ask for help. I'll help you. You're really loud. Zhang Junlin snorted coldly. Qinwan will be transferred to the National Defense Project after May Day. If you have the ability, go and clear up the relationship and open my eyes. Where? Ji Sun blurted out. Northeast. Isn't she in the south? Why did she go to the northeast again? Relocate wherever necessary, and return to the south at the end of the year. Zhang Junlin said, the integration of informationization in the northern and southern theaters is in progress, and will be handed over to a team, led by the chief engineer. Although she is a member of the team, she is not considered the team leader, but indispensable. There really is no time to solve personal problems in the past 2 years, I can only obey the organizational arrangements. So miserable, Ji Xian had a headache. Isn't Rong Li just like being a widow? This is true even if there is proof. This is really torturous. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 874. Chapter 874, Son. Guziu especially took a photo of them playing mahjong for Chen Liangdong. Chen Liangdong and Nuasi were playing with their grandson. They glanced at him and said with a chuckle, Guzi, I met this ghost and came to talk to him again. What's wrong? There was a barbecue party at Zhang Junlin's house. Lu Ziwen and Rong Li both went there, and Ziyu took a photo of them playing mahjong. Chen Liangdong said, they must talk about Qinwan and Rong Li when they get together, otherwise Ziyu, why are you sending me photos? Then what do you say? I didn't see it. Chen Liangdong put down his phone. I have time to play with the babies on the weekend, so I don't have time to talk to them. North poked Herbao's cheek gently, it doesn't matter what we think, it mainly depends on what little Cherry thinks. She didn't say a word to us. What do you think of Rong Li? Reliable. Chen Liangdong was satisfied. If it was 5 years ago, it would have been impossible. Black Eagle's transformation is now very successful. As long as the relationship between Ji Sun and Zhang Junlin can last a lifetime, it will be no problem for him to be his son-in-law. He wants to marry Zhang Junlin. When Qinwan got married, he was betting on 2 marriages. Not only did he and Xiao Yingtao have to maintain it, but Zhang Junlin and Ji Sun also had to maintain it for the rest of their lives. Even if they break up, they have to break up peacefully. But I think Ji Sun's temperament, I don't think so. Like we can break up peacefully. Who can say for sure what will happen in the future? What if they can last a lifetime? It's not that I'm biased. The divorce rate remains high and the population is growing negatively. Both men and women have a certificate and legal protection. How can they maintain it? Both of them are in the financial circle, which is even more chaotic than the entertainment circle. They can play. Ji Sun's reputation isn't particularly good, and Mr. Wang once said that you should be careful about your grandson, lest your relationship with Zhang Junlin becomes tense, and he will cheat on you at first sight. Norse, you old guys like to judge people by their appearance. That's not what I said. Chen Liangdong laughed. Ji Sun is indeed known as a peacock and a heartthrob in the financial circle. Men and women who want to sleep with him can run around the world several times. Zhang Junlin is relieved. Chen Liangdong is not interested in their relationship history, but Dr. North understands it. 1 or 2, he won't cheat. Among the financial giants, Ji Sun is rated as the one most likely to cheat, right, because he faces too many temptations. Rong Li and Little Cherry, just think about them, don't think about it so much. North said, don't worry about it. Children will have their own blessings. Why do you worry about it? I think you will have to worry about Guziu's marriage in the future. Ha 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 ha, I'm just thankful that I'm alive to see him get married. Norse. Rong Li came to pick up the babies on weekend nights. Neither North nor Chen Liangdong had retired. They were only free on weekends. When Rong Li came to pick up the children, he saw Chen Liangdong rubbing his abdomen. He said, Uncle Chen, When was your last physical examination? At the beginning of September last year, I had a stomachache recently. Chen Liangdong didn't care much. It's an old problem, it's nothing. You can check it out in half a year. Okay, don't worry. Chen Liangdong waved his hand, it's nothing. Rong Li knew that North was also a doctor, so he didn't say much. But 2 days later, he heard that Chen Liangdong had been admitted to the hospital with appendicitis. Although it was a minor operation, it was very dangerous and almost caused complications. Gu Ci was frightened, and very unfortunately, 2 hours before Chen Liangdong became ill, Dr. North boarded a plane to go to Europe. It would take more than 10 hours to fly. If something happened, it would be a bolt from the blue for Dr. North. Fortunately, there was no danger. Rong Li put aside his work and came to the hospital to take care of him. Gu Ci informed Chen Lianju that after all, Chen Lianju was too old and couldn't stay with her at night, so she hired a nurse to look after her at night. Rong Li was afraid that the nurse wouldn't do his best, so he came to stay with the bed at night, and the nurse could help. Chen Liangdong was quite surprised. After all, Rong Li was not his son-in-law, not even Qin Wan's boyfriend. He didn't just say that he took care of him. Chen Liangdong had an operation due to complications, so he had a catheter inserted. The nurse was a woman. After all, it was inconvenient. Chen Liangdong had to be strong for a lifetime and had to be taken care of by strangers. That was simply embarrassing. He had no dignity at all, so Rong Li asked the nurse to just help him. He would help him with his feces and urine, and help him change his sheets. When Chen Liangdong was thirsty at night, he would feed him patiently without even taking a nap. He would monitor his condition at any time and would not give him any infusions. A nurse is needed to replace him, so he is busy and busy. Even his own son may not be able to be so dedicated. Moi. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 875. Chapter 875 Tender Concern. Chen Liangdong was able to eat. Rong Li asked the chef to make porridge. It was very light. He put it at a suitable temperature and fed it to Chen Liangdong. Chen Liangdong was bedridden and his hands were numb and could not move. Rong Li could only feed him bite by bite. It was the first time that Chen Liangdong was bedridden and being taken care of. He felt a little ashamed and was still not used to it. He tried not to bother Rong Li. He was hungry and thirsty. He tolerated it as long as he could. He didn't want to bother Rong Li frequently. Rong Li asked for leave. In the hospital, he stayed with me during the day and at night. Chen Liangdong said weakly, I asked Chen Yang to come and stay with me for 2 days. You have worked hard, so go home and rest. Isn't Chen Yang on a business trip? He's back from a business trip. As soon as Chen Yang came back, Chen Lianju asked him to come over and take care of Chen Liangdong. He'll be here in the afternoon. Okay, if you need anything, ask him to call me. Good. Chen Liangdong cares about privacy very much and does not want to lose face. He is only willing to accept the care of his relatives, but he also knows that he should not trouble Rong Li. He has been taken care of in the hospital for 2 days and 2 nights. Rong Li was indeed a little tired after staying up for 2 days. After going home and taking a shower, he fell asleep. As soon as Dr. North landed, she heard the news that Chen Liangdong had entered the hospital. She was so anxious that she almost bought a plane ticket to come back. But before she bought the ticket, she breathed a sigh of relief when Chen Liangdong's surgery for complications was safe. She quickly took care of her business and made the decision. The fastest flight back, even then, there was no time to take care of her. Dr. North was very anxious when he talked to Qin Wan. Qin Wan was surprised, Dad is in the hospital. You do not know? I don't know, no one told me. Qin Wan was shocked. She didn't contact her family every day. In the family group, Chen Lianzhu and his wife didn't want to disturb Qin Wan's work and didn't say anything about it. Chen Yang was I only found out after returning from a business trip, so Qin Wan didn't know anything. Is Yan serious? Who is taking care of him? Rong Li was taken care of in the hospital for 2 days and 2 nights Dr. Northside, feeling very uncomfortable and guilty. Dad has a strong personality and refuses to be taken care of by nurses and guards. Your uncle is also very old. I can't stay up all night. Chen Yang just came back today. Rong Li is interested. Qin Wan. She never expected that Rong Li would have the heart to take care of her father. The patient who was operated on was paralyzed in bed and had to be taken care of very carefully. As a young man, he was willing to take care of the patient. Qin Wan was really moved. After hanging up the phone, Qin Wan looked up at the stars in the sky over the base. Her heart ached, but she was also very happy. Rong Li. At first, she looked at this man with prejudice, thinking that he had flaws everywhere, but now she looks back. Only then did she realize how harmful her prejudices were. She had never seen a man like Rong Li, who was so reassuring in everything he did. He would not greet you or give you any small favors, but he did everything he could behind her back. During her pregnancy, her temper was very irritable, and Rong Li also provided very stable emotional value. He had such a bad temper, then for a while, it was as gentle as water, giving her the stability she needed. After giving birth, he also supported her in pursuing her dreams, never restricted her, and gave her the gentlest and most stable feelings, like the sea, which accommodates everything. He took care of her for 2 days without saying a word to her. Qin Wan dialed Chen Yang's number. Chen Yang was already in the hospital. Chen Liangdong had just finished eating and was resting with his eyes closed. Chen Yang put on headphones to watch videos, not daring to turn up the volume. After receiving the call, he put it to Chen Liangdong's ear. Dad, how are you feeling today? Little Cherry, Daddy is fine, don't worry, I told them not to tell you, just work with peace of mind. Chen Liangdong felt relieved when he heard Qin Wan's voice. Mom's flight will come back tomorrow. What does the doctor say? The emergency has been stabilized, just take good care of yourself. If you need anything, just tell Chen Yang. Don't feel like you're troubling others. You're sick and we should take care of you. If you feel embarrassed, let Rong Li come over. Qin Wan took the initiative. Rong Li is very tired after 2 days and 2 nights in the hospital. Let him go home and rest. Dad can get up the day after tomorrow, so he doesn't need them to take care of him in the hospital. Chen Liangdong chuckled and said, it's really okay. Guzia comes to see him every day. His spirit is getting better day by day. He does not have cancer. He is in a cheerful mood and recovers quickly. After Qin Wan lay down, she hesitated to call Rong Li with her cell phone, but her mood was very subtle. When she was hesitant, Rong Li called her. Qin Wan's heart skipped a beat. Is Rong Li the roundworm in her belly? You can know this too. She answered the phone. Rong Li's voice was hoarse. Qin Wan's heart skipped a beat. Are you sick? You have a slight fever, it's okay. Are you busy lately? You're not busy. Are you tired from taking care of my dad in the hospital? Drink more hot water, don't hold on. Qin Wan is not a doctor, and doesn't know what to say, how to make him drink more hot water. Rong Li smiled and suddenly remembered an interesting thing. A quote from a scumbag commented on the internet said that you are sick and should drink more hot water. My secretary got the flu recently. I may have been infected. I was afraid of infecting your dad. I originally wanted to find an excuse to come back. Fortunately, Chen Yang came back. Rong Li said, don't worry, I asked the doctor and it's just that I was too tired and it was an emergency. Now my condition is stable and I've had another cancer screening. There's no problem. I'll take good care of myself after being discharged and don't do strenuous exercise for half a year. I'll be fine. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 876. Chapter 876 Outrageous Rumors. It is relatively rare for Chinwan and Rongli to talk to Rongli for an hour. They wish they could finish talking in just 1 minute and never bother to talk on the phone. I don't know since when, they were keen on video and phone calls. They talked for half an hour, and gradually they could talk for an hour. Chinwan found it incredible that she was someone who felt like a waste of time after just 10 minutes of phone calls. I was able to chat with Rongli for an hour without saying anything special. It was just casual chatting. It turned out that they had so many common topics to talk about, even if they didn't talk about the baby. Rongli is still strong and his low-grade fever will be cured in half a day. After the fever subsided, I dealt with the backlog of business in the morning and went to see Chen Liangdong in the afternoon. Chen Yang stayed up all night and went home to rest for a few hours at noon. The nurse was watching Chen Liangdong. Rongli came over to see him. Chen Liangdong could sit up and felt much more comfortable. In fact, he did not need round-the-clock care. It's just that Rongli arrived at a bad time. Just 10 minutes after arriving, a group of people came to see Chen Liangdong. Given his status and position, there would be an endless stream of people coming to see him. He couldn't move a few days ago and had already declined a large number of people. Now that he can't refuse, Chen Liangdong is quite helpless. Rongli knew that his status was not suitable for staying for too long, so after the first group of people came in and visited Chen Liangdong, he left wisely. An old comrade asked, "Old Chen, who is this young man?" "My grandson's father." "It's Rongli from Black Eagle," someone blurted out. Chen Liangdong chuckled, "It seems that the news spread quickly, everyone knows it. This is not a secret. It has been spread all over the country. They say that you are trying to beat the Mandarin ducks. You are a sectarian. You don't want Chinwan to marry him, and you don't want to see him when he has a grandson. This is happening, old Chen, do you still have prejudices?" I looked at the talented people and even asked about them. The things I told the nurse before I left were very detailed. He is very reliable. He is the CFO of Black Hawk and has a bright future. What's the use? It's better to stay within the system and move steadily. I think Black Eagle is pretty good. It belongs to Zhang Junlin's faction. As long as Zhang Junlin and Ji Xian don't break up, they can't fail. There is also a Lu family conglomerate behind them. They are among the best financial groups. Old Chen, how many people are clamoring for your prospective son-in-law? Chen Liangdong was quite confused when he heard their gossip. Outsiders are spreading rumors that I'm the one beating the Mandarin ducks. Otherwise Chinwan has given birth to a pair of babies, why hasn't he gotten married yet? Chen Liangdong secretly wondered, is his external image so bad? They are all authoritarian feudal parents. What other rumors are there? Everyone was very measured and did not say any excessive rumors. Chen Liangdong was very curious as to why there was such a rumor. After Chen Liangzhu heard about it, he said, "I spread it." "Brother, why are you spreading this kind of news? Our family's attitude has been corrected. Even if they get married in the future, at least it will not be smooth sailing." Chen Liangdong secretly thought, "You are thinking too much." Fortunately, they were in different circles and Rongli couldn't hear the rumors, otherwise they would be outrageous. After this serious illness, he figured it out. If the satisfaction with Rongli was originally 7 points, it is now 10 points. It is a very standard plot of a father-in-law looking at his son-in-law, and the more he watches, the more satisfied he becomes. Chen Lianzhu also felt that Rong Li was reliable after this incident. Even if he acted, at least he acted sincerely, so he was relieved. Qin Wan could do whatever he wanted, and his family would not interfere. Moi. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 877. Chapter 877. Then fly over here. The life at the base is very regular and fulfilling. Their high-tech personnel also have to participate in physical training. There will also be competitions in several major military regions. Qin Wan was chosen without hesitation to represent the technical department in the competition. It's similar to the military games, but not so formal. The technical department is a consolation prize every year. The champions are basically people from the Wild Wolf Squadron. The top 3 are basically frontline, responsive, and train for up to 10 hours every day. They are top-notch in each sport and have the best physical fitness. They have the most enviable physical fitness. In order to compete, Qin Wan takes time to train after work every year. She hasn't done systematic training for a while. When she was in graduate school, she was a little neglected because she was not on the front line, so she only maintains simple physical fitness. After joining the work, although she is in active service, she is a technical soldier, and the requirements are not that high. She knows how to train more, but she feels that she is still a step behind her peak. The competition was before May Day. Qin Wan had a character that refused to admit defeat. He hired a soldier from the Wild Wolf Squadron to compete in the military pentathlon. In addition to shooting, Qin Wan lost in obstacle swimming, obstacle running, cross-country and bombing. The data comparison was not that ugly. She suspected that her opponent was cheating. Later, when she inquired about her results, she discovered that she could only be ranked in the middle of the Wild Wolf Squadron in the military pentathlon. While running at night, Qin Wan put on a Bluetooth headset and chatted with Rong Li and couldn't help but roar, "Can you believe it? My obstacle course is 20 seconds slower than 5 years ago, half a minute faster, I just don't dare believe my eyes, I can't believe it. The obstacle race is 700 meters. Qin Wan's fastest record was 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Now it is 3 minutes and 41 seconds. She can't believe that her physical fitness has deteriorated so much. 20 seconds is not too far off. There is still half a month left in the competition, so we can catch up. I can't catch up. I don't have an 18-year-old body. I can catch up with a gap of several years in 3 or 4 days. I can only get a consolation prize this time." Qin Wan was originally ambitious. He wanted to win the championship and give technology the departments were competing for reputation, but who knew that she would be treated like a dog in a comparison. She felt that it would be better if she didn't come last. The important thing is to participate. Just try your best. If you work harder, you may get from a consolation prize to an excellence award. Why not try to win the championship? This is a bit realistic and difficult. The squadron is full of young people, and there is a natural gap in physical fitness between men and women. Moreover, they are all young and energetic, so our conditions are still somewhat different from theirs. Qin Wan raised his eyebrows. "You mean I'm old? I'm old, I'm talking about me." Rong Li is very eager to survive. Qin Wan also knew that what Rong Li said was true. She suddenly realized that her body was no longer at its peak. "I will train for another half-month and see if I can improve it by 10 seconds." Difficult. Many people can only improve by 3 seconds after exercising for a month, and they also have to know how to allocate their physical strength. Is your competition internal? Do you still want to come and see it? I can take my baby to cheer you up. I'm afraid that won't work. We are internal, and the audience is our own. Although there will be media, we generally will not broadcast it to the outside world. As long as several major military regions communicate with each other and learn from each other. That's such a pity. I want to see it with my own eyes. Chinwan was about to speak but stopped, just in time to regulate her breathing. Her heart felt as if it was gently hooked by a feather, itching and beating. She felt that she hadn't seen Rong Li for a long time. She also didn't expect that she would miss someone so much. Missing is like air, you cannot detect its existence, but it is everywhere. Then fly over here and I'll make arrangements for you, Chinwan blurted out. Tomorrow, New Year's Eve, there will be more than 10,000 updates. I'll do my best. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 878. Chapter 878 The Sour Smell of Love. April in the south is really hot, like a small steamer. Rong Li came 3 days early and came with his media team. In addition to the official media, the media team also has a private media, which happens to be owned by Black Hawk. As the person in charge, Li came here with the media team. Every year, several regional competitions are their internal undisclosed information. Only a few media can broadcast some edited scenes. Military enthusiasts will be familiar with their competitions, sports, etc., and the public it is difficult to access. If we use the analogy of film and television dramas, it is an unpopular niche film that no one cares about. This year we plan to promote it and let the general public come into contact with this field. We have invited 3 media outlets that have a wide spread of media. However, due to various reasons, we have deleted 2 media outlets, leaving only Black Hawk, because it is broadcast. Because of this, there are many things that need to be paid attention to. Ji-sun originally wanted to join in the fun, but he had to give up when Zhang Junlin took him to a meeting. The media team has a total of more than 20 people. After Rong Li moved in, he brought the director, cameraman, and planner for a meeting. He made 3 orders and made sure to abide by the regulations. Do not touch things that should not be filmed. Do not leave videos in prohibited places. Director, the cameraman, and planner all knew the importance and reassured him. Then the person in charge of the official media asked them to go over and have a meeting together. Rong Li took the director and others to the meeting. Several major media were present. In fact, they were assigned work and various precautions. Work manuals were also distributed to them. The director went to confirm their camera positions and shooting content. Black Hawk Media was responsible for shooting obstacle races and orienteering. And obstacle swimming, Chinwan participated in obstacle running and orienteering, long-distance individual events, relay races, and shooting. The relays were run by official media, and Black Hawk was in charge of the men's and women's orienteering distance races. Rong Li knew something about it when he came here. The most difficult thing for media shooting was orienteering, which was 40 kilometers in total. This time, it was set at Kangmu Mountain, Red Rock Cliffs, and the Black Mist River. They were all shrubs, jungles, cliffs, and rivers. Only the hunters took several rarely visited paths, had to climb rocks, and cross a 6-kilometer river without the use of tools. Photographing was extremely difficult. The contestants were all soldiers and had very strong physical fitness, so the photographers had to keep up. Orienteering is different from others. There is no fixed route. The athletes run to their fixed points according to the compass and map. It is considered a successful check-in. There are a total of 12 points, and 1 point is still at the top. There are capture points near the points. As long as they appear within 2 meters nearby, it will be considered passed. They are all shrubs. Jungles and mountains require photographers to have a certain amount of physical ability to keep up. They also need very specialized equipment and various aerial equipment to assist. Some places that cannot be photographed need to be captured with machines. Rong Li's the photographers we brought here all had experience filming orienteering. Before the competition, we had to take photographers to familiarize themselves with the terrain. One photographer even gave up. "Boss, This is too difficult to follow. There is no clean road in the whole map. We have to climb rocks and drill through bushes. There may be poisons in the hinterland of the forest. We are not professionals. It is difficult to follow the whole process. The route is too difficult, and I don't know which way the players will go, and their physical fitness may not be able to keep up with them. Let's first determine the location of the follow-up shooting. The photographers who need it will allocate road sections. It's definitely not possible to follow the whole process. You can't keep up with them. We have enough equipment to support the whole process of shooting. The follow-up photographer only needs to we need to take pictures that you can take, and we can just edit them. This is different from the orienteering you are exposed to, and it is very entertaining, so I ask you to capture the wonderful moments of the soldiers, Director Lin. You and I will go to the location first and then arrange the photographers at the location. If necessary, we can make temporary arrangements and we still have 2 days to prepare. Okay. Wrongly also worked very neatly, taking the director team and the photography team to see the topography and landforms. They didn't know it until they saw it, and they were shocked. The chief photographer said, it was more difficult to shoot than the hard road on Qinghai Plateau. The road has rock walls and snow-capped mountains, and is full of dangers. But after all, it is a mature orienteering route. Even if it is dangerous, it is nothing to follow. An experienced photographer can follow and take pictures all the way. But this route is different. They are all original routes. After a simple evaluation, the chief photographer said, "Boss, if you need pictures of each player, you may need to add more photographers. Each photographer can only follow for a period of time road." A followed and photographed the bush section, then stopped when he reached the river, and used aerial photography to follow the soldier across the river. Then another person followed and photographed from the other side of the river to the foot of the mountain, and used aerial photography to follow the soldier climbing, and so on. Etc. Aerial photography in forests and shrubs is not easy, but rock climbing and river crossing are possible. More photographers are needed in the forest. Aerial photography is only suitable for relatively open places. Forests are not suitable for aerial photography. It is difficult to follow up with equipment. Rock climbing and river crossing are the most suitable for aerial photography and can also produce films. Wrongly nodded, and after walking around with the photographer and director team, he took a helicopter to observe the map. The dangerous peaks overlapped. The rock walls were covered with moss and were very slippery. There was also a road that everyone had to cross. The rivers, reefs and rapids were full of dangers. Wrongly felt a sigh of relief in his heart. This was too dangerous. How could Qinhuan sign up for such a dangerous project? They knew every point in the orienteering, and the chief photographer and director also designated photographers. After Wrongly crossed the canyon by helicopter, he came down from another direction. He was very worried about Qinhuan. This 40-kilometer route was in the open. It was hard to travel through places, let alone such a difficult route. He had just tried the compass, and it still works sometimes. They needed a very precise sense of direction. Each soldier is assigned a camera. Wrongly suddenly interrupted, "I have also learned a little photography, so I can temporarily act as a photographer. I will be responsible for following the shooting on the 12th. Boss, it's too dangerous to follow me. If you want to follow me, just take aerial photos of the rock walls, canyons, and rivers. You can also take photos of your face," the chief photographer said euphemistically. Wrongly raised his eyebrows. "Are you afraid that the content I shot cannot be used?" "No, no, absolutely not. We are afraid that you are in danger. The young master who raises the excellence, take this extreme off-road, if he bumped and folded, wouldn't G always give them all a meal? They don't dare to take risks. It's okay, I'll follow you on the 12th. You can arrange it. I'll have someone available at any time. Time is still tight. The main big project of Black Hawk is orienteering. This is not the most difficult shooting. Skydiving is the most difficult, and photography requires skydiving together. Wrongly said, we will try our best to finish the filming so that people will think of us for similar cooperation in the future. Okay, we promise to complete the task. After Wrongly returned to the hotel, the director and camera crew went to work. He took out a map to study. There were a total of 28 directional points. Chinwan needed to complete them in the shortest time. What route should he take to reach them? He was studying the route, and Chinwan would naturally do the same, but no one was allowed to observe the map in advance, so she could only study it from the map. But there was a problem with this kind of orienteering. If you study the map well and run according to the set direction, you may not be able to reach the destination. If you encounter any dangers in the middle or encounter a dead end, you must reset the direction. Every point is fixed. From 1 to 2, to 3, cannot go from 1 to 4, and then back to 2 and 3. This requires soldiers to have accurate judgment. Chinwan is studying the map after training. She must have alternative plans for each route and be familiar with the map. This is the basic battle skill of every competitor. Jongguo said, "Don't work so hard. We can get a consolation prize. Only half of the orienteering can be completed. Anyway, we will withdraw midway if we can't finish." No one would expect technical soldiers to win the championship. Chinwan has a heart to win the championship. No, I want to win. When Chinwan was studying the map, the phone rang. She knew that Wrongly was leading a team to shoot this time, and that Black Eagle was in charge of orienteering. Wrongly could see every scene of hers. Every time she talks to Wrongly on the phone, she puts on her Bluetooth and goes out for a run, and this time is no exception. Jongguo thought to himself, this master of time management is too powerful. Chat while running and talking on the phone without missing a beat. It's so late, are you still training? Just running, running counts as rest, Chinwan said with a smile. You just landed today, didn't you go to arrange work? Give me a call when you have time. I'm used to hearing your voice every day. If I don't call, I always feel like something is missing. Wrongly chuckled and said, guess where I went today? Of the several projects you were responsible for shooting, orienteering was a little more difficult, and the others were very easy. Of course, you inspected the map. How did you see it? Do you listen to the truth? I don't mind if you want to tell lies. Wrongly stretched his legs and poured a cup of coffee. The terrain in the bush is very complicated. There is basically no easy path, only 2 or 3 trails that hunters walk into the mountain. The jungle is full of thorns, and some places are impossible to walk at all. It's very difficult to shoot. Rock climbing, do you have any protective equipment for rock climbing? Yes, Chinwan said, I heard that there is a lot of moss on the rock wall and it is very dangerous, so there will be protection facilities. There is also a good rock climbing road on the other side of the cliff. Of course, I haven't seen the terrain, so it's not very good. It's clear. We'll take a closer look when the time comes. Besides, the cliff is not the only way to go. You can take a detour. The detour is to climb over a mountain, and the terrain should be a little flatter. It takes 3 times as long to take a detour. You who are engaged in finance should know that with high risks and high returns, the path you take is safe. In competition, it takes more time. This is the truth, Chinwan said jokingly. Are you worried about me? Yeah, Wrongly hummed. He knew Chinwan's personality. You have to be careful and don't show off. Certainly. Wrongly asked without distinction, do you want the topographic map I surveyed today? No, Chinwan said, this is unfair to others. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 879. Chapter 879, Couple Cooperation. Wrongly had already guessed that Qinwan would say this, and was not surprised at all. Wrongly did not tell Qinwan that he was going to follow the filming, so he would just give her a surprise when the time came. He knew that Qinwan had been training all day, and Wrongly knew that she had been training all day and also had to run, so he did not chat with Qinwan for too long and asked her to rest early. As the competition approaches, Qinwan has nothing on her mind. She has been focusing on training recently. She must get a good ranking in orienteering. Qinwan's hard work was visible to everyone else. Several colleagues in the technical department could only give her moral support. They could not leave the base and could only immerse themselves in training. The day before the game, Qinwan and Zhangguo returned to the dormitory. There was a game tomorrow. Qinwan did not continue training in order to preserve his energy and went to bed early. Zhangguo tossed and turned but couldn't fall asleep and hesitated to speak. Qinwan was calm. "What's wrong? I heard that someone from the official media went to survey the map and then revealed it to the contestants." Zhangguo was very depressed. Although it was hearsay, they were very precise. "I heard that 7 or 8 people invited the map explorer to dinner. It's not fair to ask what the map is." "Who said that?" "Someone saw it and guessed it. Since it is speculation, there is no real evidence, so let's stop here and don't spread it. Rumors will become more and more outrageous as they spread." Qinwan is relatively calm, has no resentment, and has a good attitude. Wrongly he asked her if she wanted to know the map. He probably knew that there were some regular routes between fixed points that couldn't be traveled, so he asked her specifically to remind her. Qinwan refused at the first opportunity. Although it was not absolutely fair, she still wanted to have a clear conscience. Besides, it was just a competition and there was no need to go too far. "Our goal is to win the consolation prize, it doesn't matter," Qinwan joked. When Zhangguo thought about it, his mentality really calmed down. Nothing was difficult in the world, as long as he was willing to lie down. Qinwan ignored all the disturbing things. She had a good sleep and felt refreshed when she woke up. Her first event was obstacle running, her second event was shooting, and she started orienteering at 10 o'clock. The photography team saw that some projects still carried 20 kilograms of weight, and couldn't help but think that it was lucky that orienteering did not require weight, otherwise it would be a hellish project. Wrongly was in the orienteering team, so he didn't go to the shooting range. They were waiting for the competition to start. They were not in the same venue, and the photographer couldn't run around. He was fully equipped today and planned to follow Qinwan throughout the whole process. This is a challenge and a very new activity for him. Each member of the photography team is equipped with an aerial camera, and they can just edit it when the time comes. The director specially transferred an aerial camera team to specialize in aerial photography, and strive to capture exciting and enjoyable scenes. Wrongly was waiting for the players at the edge of the mountain forest. Some who had no competition came here early. Kangmyu Mountain is lush and green, with a forest coverage rate of over 80%. Many places are rarely inhabited, and there is only one entrance to the mountain forest. Wrongly feels very dangerous just looking at it. There are 5 points in Kangmyu Mountain. The distance between each point is very long and very interesting. You can choose an optimal route just by looking at the map, but you may not be able to run it when you really want to run. Many people came early and were discussing the route. Qinwan also had shooting and obstacle course running in the morning. The last batch to arrive, obstacle course running and shooting did not require much physical effort, although it was okay if they concentrated a little. Wrongly looked at his watch and waited for Qinwan. Qinwan has always performed very stably in shooting, ranking first in the group and first in performance. This competition has 3 rounds, and the results are announced the next day. She then enters the finals. She passed the first round easily, placed third in the obstacle course, and entered the finals by stepping on the points. Shooting is her most confident event. She can at least be in the top 3 in the finals. Several snipers also performed well. She took a look at the side and thought that if nothing happens, it will be no problem for her to be in the top 3. At 9:30, Chinwan and the last group of soldiers also arrived at the foot of Kangmu Mountain. This time, there were a total of 68 people from the 2 theaters participating in orienteering. It was a large number of people, and it was just a competition. It started at 10 o'clock and ended at 10 o'clock in the evening. Click end. If they haven't come out after 10 o'clock in the evening, send a signal and a helicopter will pick them up, and they will be automatically eliminated. Players who are more confident in themselves hope to come out before the sun goes down. After dark, the difficulty level rises sharply, and it becomes difficult to identify the direction. Wrongly took a look at the weather. It was considered sunny these 2 days, not cloudy, just a little bit. Good news. Chinwan knew many people, including his comrades in the same war zone and former front-line agents. They had basically met each other, and they had a lively chat as soon as they arrived. When he saw Rong Li, Chinwan was very surprised, and Sarong Li was fully armed, and she was even more surprised. Why are you here? Take a guess. I can't guess. You are the person in charge and you don't need to come here in person. Chinwan thought Rong Li was watching her clips from behind the camera. She had already seen the aerial shots all over the sky. Aerial photography in the forest is quite difficult. I am the following cameraman. Chinwan was shocked, with a look on his face as if he was kidding me, but Rong Li looked very serious, and Chinwan was confused for a moment. Are you sure you want to follow the filming? Underestimate me. One thing, Chinwan said truthfully, we have to cross bushes, climb rocks, and swim. You have been sitting in an office for so many years, how can you still keep up with us? Rong Li said expressionlessly, then give it a try. Doubt is worse than practice. After all, when I was on a blind date, you also suspected that I was ill. Chinwan. She suspected that Rong Li was showing off, and the 2 babies were the proof. All right, he is so confident, so just let him do whatever he wants. Chinwan still warned him uneasily, if you can't stand it, quit. Don't be too pushy. There is aerial photography anyway. The photographers taking pictures here are all professional and must have followed orienteering. I just don't know if they have ever run such a difficult route. Just play the game and don't worry about it. Chinwan and the soldiers gathered together to read the pre-match manual. It was just a routine matter. Chinwan still read the manual carefully and saw various precautions. They have a compass, a map, a saber, and a lighter. Chinwan frowned, what about the rock climbing equipment? We don't know. Chinwan frowned even more. Rong Li was carrying a set of rock climbing equipment and was ready to climb with her. He knew her very well and knew that she would definitely take risks. But how can they climb without rock climbing equipment? The rock wall is so high and it is too easy to get into trouble when climbing with bare hands. Is it acquiescence that made them give up rock climbing? Several members of the Wild Wolf Squadron were also confused. Without rock climbing equipment, they would not dare to climb rocks with bare hands. Unless they were worried about their longevity and couldn't figure it out, they simply didn't think about it. When the competition starts, aerial photography and photographers are in place. It is not just one cameraman following one person, but usually one cameraman following a group of people. Orienteering is not a separate activity. Many people are running together, so there is no need for a pair. When filming, Rong Li is quite unique because he is the boss, so he follows Chinwan, but he will still take pictures of others responsibly. After entering the mountains and forests, they quickly set off towards point 1. The points were the same, but the routes they chose were different. The routes studied by everyone were different. After entering the mountains and forests, they quickly divided into several directions. Qinhuan and Sii personally chose a path, so I followed it together. Rongli and a photographer followed and photographed the five of them. The bushes were very lush, and they had to open a path by themselves. There were a lot of thorns. Qinhuan and several soldiers were not in a hurry and moved forward immediately. They worked together to cut down a few branches and then cut them into sharp shapes. Qinhuan tied his saber on a branch. You can cut off the thorns and at least make a way. Occasionally they have to crawl forward, which is quite difficult. Fortunately, they made the right choice. There were no accidents on this road until they reached point 2. Several soldiers' hands and feet were more or less stabbed by thorns. The photographers were better off and followed them. It was slightly better to follow the path they had taken. Rongli had no scars on his whole body, but he looked at the scars on Qinhuan's arms with distress. After passing the second point, they basically parted ways. Qinhuan didn't need to be with anyone, so he took another road and ran towards the third point. Rongli followed closely behind him. He was a photographer. She couldn't make a sound, just recording her route and movements. Seeing Qinhuan almost stepping on a trap, Rongli's scalp went numb. How could there be traps in this old forest in the deep mountains? Qinhuan was also surprised that there were traps in this old forest. Which is outrageous. Her speed is extremely fast. Whether she is jumping, running, or crawling through thorns, she is very fast. She does not need to pause at all. It is not difficult for Rongli to follow her. Occasionally, in order to take pictures of Qinhuan from a good angle, Rongli would run in front of her, take pictures of her with his camera, and also clear a path for Qinhuan. Most of the time, I followed Qinhuan. Qinhuan had a good sense of direction and intuition. The road to points 2 and 3 was particularly smooth. When he passed point 3, he didn't see a single person. He quickly ran to point 4, which was a point in the north. From south to north, he had to pass through the hinterland of the forest. This was an area that hunters rarely entered and exited, and the danger factor doubled. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 880. Chapter 880 Extreme Challenge. In the hinterland of the forest, it was shaded, cold and humid, and a layer of water seemed to stick to his skin. Qinhuan was frightened by a flower snake. He originally wanted to chop off its head with his knife, but then he thought that it was she who had startled him. It's territory, so the two confront each other. Rongli also filmed one person and one snake motionlessly. The scene was extremely strange and dramatic. The flower snake seemed to be frightened by the light of the knife and slipped behind. It is difficult to walk in the hinterland of the forest. Qinhuan's hair is often caught in the branches. Before the competition, she was a radiant beauty. After entering, she turned into a gray-faced beauty. She has a messy beauty that cannot be concealed. There is a small pool in the hinterland. The surrounding soil is relatively soft. The diameter of the small pool is only half a meter. There are some very bright purple flowers blooming on the edge. Rongli is very surprised. The camera also moves with it. He occasionally likes it. Photograph this pretty little plant. Qinhuan turned around and said to Rongli, "It's beautiful. I haven't seen it before." Rongli couldn't say anything and nodded. Qinhuan used the most beautiful smile and told the most terrifying story, "My whole body is full of poison. If I take one bite, I will see you in the next life." Rongli raised his eyebrows, and Qinhuan said, "So don't touch the plants deep in the forest." Before the competition, everyone had knowledge about poisonous plants and was afraid that they would touch them randomly. Qinhuan walked around the small water pool, but found that there was no road. This was the first time Qinhuan came to a dead end. There was a large thorn forest in front of him. They could not cross it manually. If they wanted to open a road, they would have to use a machine to open the road. Qinhuan, take out the compass and look at the direction. If you can't get through it, you can only take a detour. There is a large pool on the left and an unknown vegetation on the right. Wrongly took advantage of her sitting on a dead branch to look at the map and took beautiful photos of her from all directions. Qinhuan dressed up very neatly and really looked like the heroine in the movie Extreme Survival, very sassy. If this were a movie, Wrongly thought, she would definitely be popular. Qinhuan looked at the purple flowers beside the pool and resolutely chose to go to the right, not to touch the poisonous area. The road was really difficult to walk. Even as Wrongly walked behind, he saw a snake hovering on the tree trunk, but he recognized it. This kind of snake is not poisonous, but it is a bit scary in size. It is rare to see non-venomous snakes deep in the hinterland. Qinhuan's line is really dangerous. She chose the shortest distance, so it must be thrilling. Wrongly couldn't help but want to remind him loudly. But Qinhuan was not afraid at all. The photographer was Wrongly, and there was someone accompanying her in the dangerous hinterland of the forest. She was not afraid at all. And full of fighting spirit. I just want to sprint and get to the specified point as soon as possible. She opened a path with difficulty, thinking she could easily bypass the thorn forest, but she obviously overthought and accidentally sprained her foot. A sharp thorn scratched the sole of her foot. Qinhuan turned pale in pain. Face, Wrongly didn't care about filming, and hurriedly put down the camera and came over. Qinhuan raised his hand. No, just keep filming, you can't help me. What kind of rules do you still have at this time? The regulations are the regulations, and it is a camera support pole. Before Qinhuan and others set out, in addition to the necessary tools, they brought a small amount of emergency medicine. It was not too much, but now they can all be used to stop bleeding, disinfect, and simply wrap it with gauze. When Wrongly saw this bandage, no, Qinhuan went there but thought it didn't matter. She could endure the pain, and besides, soldiers are very fast. They were just competing for speed. If she gave up just because of this injury and wasted time, then she would not be considered a qualified soldier. Qinhuan knew that Wrongly felt sorry for her, so she smiled and said, "It's okay, it doesn't hurt anymore." Wrongly took a deep breath and was very angry. It didn't hurt anymore, but his face was still white, so he knew how to show off. After passing through this difficult area, Qinhuan relied on his very good sense of direction and intuition to reach Point 4 without any danger. There were a lot of materials at Point 4, including simple medical facilities, supplies, etc. There was a doctor waiting, and when she knew Qinhuan was limping, she knew she was injured. "You are the first one to come to Point 4. Are you injured somewhere? Do you need treatment?" Qinhuan didn't want to waste time, but she was very confident in her orienteering, and she wasn't afraid of others catching up. There were still many routes ahead, so she had to ensure her health. Wrongly looked at her with a dark face. I was afraid that she would wave her hand and say she didn't care. The sole of the foot was scratched. "I see you have a cut on your arm." The military doctor was an old doctor. He had been here for a while. Qinhuan took off his shoes. He saw that the wound was quite serious. "It will require stitches." "How long?" "It'll be quick. Don't worry. Sharpen the knife and chop the firewood. You'll probably be injured at this point. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here." "It won't take much time," the military doctor said cheerfully, and then gave her stitches. After stitches, medicine was applied, and then she was wrapped in a layer of plastic wrap. "You have to swim later, so you don't get infected by water." "Okay." Qinhuan packed up, drank another glass of milk, ate half a piece of chocolate, and continued walking forward. Before leaving, she didn't forget to turn around and ask, "I'm really the first person, you won't?" "Everyone, that's what you say." "Guess." The military doctor slapped himself on the arm and killed a mosquito. Qinhuan said, paint some camouflage to prevent mosquitoes. After simple treatment, she was obviously much better. In order not to affect her schedule, she also asked the doctor to give her an analgesic injection, which could last for 3 hours. At least it would not affect her movements during these 3 hours. If the anesthetic wore off, there is another medical point and another injection. It took Chinwan an hour and a half to cross Kangmyo Mountain. Rongli didn't know the progress of others. While Chinwan was resting, he sent text messages to ask about the progress of the camera crew. He discovered that Chinwan was really the first to cross Kangmyo Mountain. The entire group, everyone mentioned their location, and if anyone needed help, Rongli was special and didn't mention Chinwan's location. We arrived after crossing Kangmyo Mountain, and the next point is in the canyon. There are several routes to this point in the Red Rock Canyon. There is only one shortcut, which is to climb over the cliff in front of her. Chinwan had already picked up a set of rock climbing equipment when she was at the last supply point, and the helicopter sent the rescue team to the valley. If you are climbing, there will be a rescue team. However, there are no protection measures. The rescue team also advised her not to climb rocks. We are just a decoration and there is no perfect rescue. Although taking another path is a bit slower, at least it is safe. Rongli thought, she won't. Sure enough, Chinwan said, I climb rocks. Rock climbing at this height is easy. She turned back to Rongli and said, don't follow me, just take aerial photos. She didn't know if Rongli had practiced, and it was not suitable for him to follow him while rock climbing. He had to climb and take pictures, which was already difficult. Aerial photography was the easiest, and it was very atmospheric and beautiful. End of this chapter.